You see that? That's what's called a wry smile. I can't help it. So, part 2, my response. A few weeks ago, I'd had a conversation with a Warning fan. And they got very emotional, let's just say, in these comments. And they were saying all sorts of stuff. Now, the reason I got into this conversation with this person on YouTube in the comment section was because I'd had so many comments on my YouTube over the last year, or even probably longer, saying, Andy, you should check out The Warning. The Warning are incredible. They're the greatest band of the last 30 or 40 years. They're the greatest songwriters since the Beatles. I'm not making this up. This is what people have said. They're incredible. They're the saviors of music. They're going to wipe away all this auto-tune crap that you always say is crap. You should check them out. They're the real deal. They're incredible. There's never been a band like them. Not, this is a good band, you might not. And it's not like that. It was all like that. And so when you hear that, right, now when people say, I get every day, it's like hundreds of bands are suggested for me to go and listen to. And a lot of the time, because people know what I like, I go and click on the link and I listen to it and go, yeah, that's bloody brilliant, yeah. But there's so much stuff out there, I'm not going to invest in it. I'm not going to go and get the album. But I think it's great. But with The Warning, when I went and put it on, now what I did, first off, is after about 3 comments, I went and put a video on them. It was a promo video. And this is no comment against The Warning. This one isn't. Because I'm going to try and, I'm going to try and set the record straight, because there were certain things in that video that I just want to set straight a little bit. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm not defending myself at all. I will do that at a certain point. I'm going to be stirring the pot even more. Don't worry, I'm not backing down. I'm not backing down, not against that lot, right? But there is some things I want to set straight and explain how we got to this point on the channel, because it's brilliant. Oh, I love it, controversy. You know, yes, you are right. I do love it. Right, I don't. It's not that I love it for clicks. It's not that I'm click. It's not that. I just do love it. I find it entertaining. I find it interesting. I find it interesting that art and culture can throw up these conversations, and I sit back and say, "What's this really about? And what did this tell us about the time we're in now?" That's what this is all about. Anyway. So I went and I checked one of their promo videos, and with all modern rock, it's not The Warning's fault, but the way modern rock is made now, I listen to the snare drum, and it's exactly the same snare drum every single hit, and every time she does a tom roll, the toms are all perfectly in time, and then when you watch a camera of her live, they're not quite the same, and we know that, when they make an album, the producers buff it up. They're not doing it as much as they do with some artists. It's not fakery, but it's definitely been buffed up. So I then watched the Pepsi concert. Now, what's interesting, everyone is still going, go and check this out, go and check this album out, go watch this live gig. I have watched a ton of them. I didn't go into this video without listening to them. I watched a ton of them, and I read up on them, okay? I watched the live Pepsi gig, and in watching that, brilliant show. Light show's great, they perform absolutely brilliant on it. You could hear that the vocals are live, and some of the vocals are pretty, they're a bit off, so you know that that's the case. But again, the drum sounds that sound a little bit triggered. It's sometimes the guitar sounds a little bit consistent. I don't know what's going on, and it does not matter. Have I played on live albums where everything bar the drums was replaced in the studio afterwards? Yes, I have, right? So I know the industry. It's not like I'm going to catch them out. I just know how it's done, right? But when I watched the Pepsi one, or it was a live concert anyway, there was a live concert I saw, and I saw them playing a version of Enter Sandman by Metallica, which they reworked into another style, and I thought, well, that's quite interesting. So when I read up on read up about them on Wikipedia and various other websites, and read all the comments that everyone had said, and I'd done my research, I made the mistake of thinking Metallica had shared that video. So I do apologise for saying, and it was only one sentence that I said, I can understand why Metallica wanted to share a video with these attractive young ladies in that video, because it looks good for them. Not realising the actual video was made much earlier when they were little kids, and I felt a bit bad about that. But I got that bit wrong, so I put my hands up. I got that bit wrong. Also, there's a lot of people who got very, very angry that I said that they formed their band through playing Rock Band, the video game. Well, they did. Go and check it out. They did. But they reminded me that they'd had piano lessons before. Well, before I became a drummer, I had piano lessons too for about 2 or 3 years. And so they are being described as proficient musicians before they went to Rock Band. But I can tell you, when I picked up my drumsticks at the age of 11, I was not a proficient musician, despite the fact that I'd had piano lessons. It's a nothing, right? But what's interesting is that the fans came in so absolutely knowledgeable of this band's history. And that I did not know. And what I became aware of reading all these ridiculous comments that are on the channel, right, which I'm going to go into in a minute because they're so entertaining, and we're going to try and find out what the hell's going on psychologically with this, because the reaction is ridiculous. I'll put myself off now. There's so much to say about this. My brain's going off in a number of different directions. Let me tell you the context of that video, because that's where I started. So I'm having this conversation with this guy, and it's one of many, but this one's really gone on to about 50, 60, 70 comments. I tried to find it, so I was going to go through that because that was the inspiration. And at the end of this, when we were really arguing, I said to this guy, I said, there is so much material, I'm going to make a video on what you've been saying. And he said, yeah, go on then. And then as soon as I said that, he went, yeah, I love your videos. I could see it suddenly turned around a little bit. And we had quite a nice conversation towards the end. And so I came down here last week. There'd been a storm. I walked into the studio. It was freezing cold. There was no electrics. What I got planned, I couldn't do. And so I walked up to the window that's behind me, where there's like a tiny little bit of light, and I put the camera right up against that window, and I put my face right up against the window. I thought, I won't waste the day. I'll just do a video on this warning band. So when I was going through their history, that was me just pulling out what I can remember. That I have really been researching into this band, but it was what I can remember, and I got a few things wrong. But for all the when I left the house this morning, that video had been up for 15 hours. It's been the biggest viewed video of the last month on my channel. It was reaching 10,000 views after 15 hours and had nearly 900 comments on it. 900, right? I honestly did not expect that. And I got to be honest, I was a little bit depressed because I'm running up to Christmas and the views have been dropping like this. And, you know, a few months ago, I was doing all the clickbaity stuff, overrated this, and this. I was doing all that, and you could get a bit fed up of doing that type of thing. And so I'd slip back to making, you know, actual videos about music. And of course, nobody's watching those anymore. And this warning one, I thought this quite interesting because I can use this to bookend my life as a rock fan, started with Rainbow on Whitesnake and then the new wave of British heavy metal, through the LA thrash bands, through that to this modern day where it's almost like the next generation have come in. And I will critique it in the way I critique absolutely everything, with a whole bunch of humour and silliness and self-deprecation, but also poking fun. And if there's anything I can poke the fun at with anybody, I will do it. And when you poke that little button with the warning, which was basically saying, yeah, I think they're okay. I think they are okay. That is basically it. That is what was happening in the comments. Check this band out, Andy. Yeah, I've just had to listen to them. What do you think? What do you think? They're okay. Yeah, it's all right. It's not my thing. What do you mean it's not your thing? They're the best song. They're the best band since the Beatles. They're great songwriters. They've done this, and this. And I'm like, whoa, what's... And when I did that last video, I didn't know what was going on. I'm going to tell you right now at the end of this video. So if you want to know what I think is actually going on and why that video has been so massive and why there's such a hysterical response from their fans, the warning army, bloody hell, you can say it's an army. You know, if we do end up going to war with Putin and we get World War III, I suggest getting the warning fans and sticking them up front. In fact, I'll kidnap the warning and I'll stick him in Russia. The war will be over in 5 minutes. Now, this is a joke. I'm not really going to do that's a joke. It's a joke on how it's not I'm against the warning. I'm not going to kidnap them. I don't want them to be put in prison or anything like that. Right? The joke is, I'll explain it for you warning fans. The joke there was that you are so, like, really support the man so much that you would be a brilliant army because you'd go in fighting everybody. When you come up with the Russians, who are a vicious army, you go, we don't need, get them, they've got our girls, and you get in them, beating them all up and smashing them around there. They won't even need weapons. Won't be weapons. And because you're all old, nobody will mind dying because you can lay your life down knowing that you've lived a good life and lay it down for your, rock princesses. I can think, I'm doing it again. Now, there's a certain person, and I'm one of these people, if someone was poking fun at something that I really like, I would be like going, oh yeah, it's true that is, isn't it? He's got a point, it's quite true, yeah. Still like him though, but yeah, that is how I would react, because I'm English, right? But certain people can't take it. How dare you have no respect? This is what one guy went, you have no respect for them. Why should I have any respect for them? What have they done? You don't understand. They've saved music. They've saved my life. These girls are well brought up. These girls have been well brought up. They're polite and they have worked really hard. Right? They have put the hours in. You don't realise what they have done. When they made that video, they only made it for their nan, and then they couldn't send it to her. They just happened to stick it on YouTube. They never asked for any of this. But once they got it, they like the incredible, hard-working, motivated youth that they are, they took the bull by the horns and they've made a wonderful thing out of it. There's so many kids out there taking drugs, committing crime, and you decide to pick on these lovely young girls. Why would you want to do that? And they're Mexican. Are you a racist? I mean, in your video at one point, what did you say? What do people listen to in Mexico? Mexican music? You racist. You're a racist for saying such a thing. How dare you say that the Mexicans would listen to Mexican music? What do you do in England? Listen to English music? Sometimes, yeah. Right, so do you ever look at some of these? I've got a whole stomach stuff. So we're 12 minutes. The next video is going to be me going through these comments. Now you got to remember, I have got so many comments. I've only grabbed them randomly. I haven't gone through them. There's 850 of them. I haven't gone through the comments and go, that's a good one, and I can create a good video. I've just grabbed them. I just copied and pasted the ones out of the insult folder that's on YouTube, and then there was one big long conversation. I've copied that, and I want to go through some of it and extract a little bit of humour out of it, because the warning fans, who are the main people watching this, but they're not, are they? Because when that warning video came out, all the warning fans were there getting really angry, and I looked at the analytics and I could see the subscriptions going up. And I thought, there's real music fans here who were sat there going, have you seen what Andy's done? Oh my God. Has he had to go at the warning fans? Doesn't he know what the warning fans are like? Nah, you know what he's like. You don't know anything. All he knows is about jazz and prog. Anything that's had in modern culture, he hasn't got a clue about really. He pretends he has, but he hasn't got a clue. He doesn't know anything about warning fans. He doesn't know what he's messing with. He's the sort of bloke that go around the bloody mafia's house and go and knock their door and said, I've got a bone to pick with you. You've been walking around thinking you're the big I am. That's the sort of bloke he is. He doesn't even really know what's going to happen. They're psychos. Oh, come on, let's see what I'm going to... I mean, the video's good. If you read the comment section, though, it's more entertaining. It is. The comment section is more entertaining than the video. Right, I'm only doing this to stoke it up. And the thing was, I was depressed. I was getting depressed. I was thinking, oh, no one's watching my videos. I'm doing videos on Bill Evans and talking about Miles Davis and things like this. And nobody's watching them. 1,900 views after 3 days. I mean, I can't have a channel like that, can I? And then suddenly, like a gift from God, that warning video lands. And when I saw it last night, I was like, oh, thank God for that. Here we go, just before Christmas as well. Just before Christmas, I can relax, because I've got to get through, because I don't want to be working through Christmas. I want the channel, I'm going to leave the channel, there's going to be no editing on the videos I'm making at the moment. Just going to be talking to camera like this, I can bang them straight up, and I'm just going to work so hard, get a ton of videos in, so I can get 3 or 4 days off, and then pick up around about the new year. That's my plan. And so I was chuffed that we've had this bit of warning, value added. All right, so if you want to hear some of these comments, what I'm going to do is, my voice will be my voice. but I'm going to do a voice for the these warning fans, and to differentiate to my beautiful, low, rich tones, manly tones that I've got, I'll probably do it up there, because if I do it up there, then the anger, I think, being a Brummie in Birmingham, when we get angry, we get really high. What's more angry, me bloody did. What do you think you're doing? So I will do it in a high Brummie accent. This won't undermine their points whatsoever. It will give them, give them a fair chance to have their say. As one of them says, if you do read out my comments, put the context in. Yes, because you're so totally right, aren't you? Put the context in. This is one bloke. This must have been like last night. His fingers must have been worn down to nubs. The amount he was typing in everything, trying to get, I'm going to argue everything down. I will stop this war. Girls, don't worry. I will stop him. I'm going to stop him just with my comments. Don't worry, girls. You okay? I will protect you. Right, so, here's a comment. Wow, 30 minutes of a guy trying to justify his own inadequacies with an incoherent history of rock by a guy half my age. Bro, the warning will not hurt you. Ease up and self-evaluate. Jealousy rant 101. That's just bog standard. That's not particularly nasty. I just thought that's the sort of thing I've been going. I'm jealous. So that's one of the things. I'm jealous of the warning. Remember this? And I've been threatened by them. There's people going things like, when you get to support bands like Muse and bloody things like that, then you could say things. And I was thinking, I've supported David Bowie, I've supported Eric Clapton, and I've had people like Billy Cobham and BB King support me back when I was playing with Robert Plant, the greatest rock singer in the history of rock. And you sat there going, oh, these warning fans, they never been to my channel before. That's why they don't get the jokes. I don't think they get a joke. You came up and slapped them around the face in their bloody... Now, this one's got an answer. And so I thank you, Andy Edwards fans, for the ones who have come in and just tried to regain a little bit of balance. So somebody's come in. I'll say who this is. This is Killsport5882. If this video was about Sleep Token, would you be upset? Now, I haven't got a clue who Sleep Token is. Andy's shtick is being a pompous British douchebag, when in reality he's a talented, thank you, and knowledgeable musician. Not that can inform an opinion, though. Get over your crush and get a grip on reality. I am a pompous British douchebag, and I hope I'm a musician. I think I'm relatively talented. I mean, I've been able to extract a sort of career out of it for the last 40 years. And I've got some skill and knowledge, and I try and impart it here. I try and impart it in a light-hearted way, so I don't come off in reality like a pompous git. The fact that I crack all the jokes and act like a pompous British person is because it's called irony. Warning fans. I might do a separate video. It'll be called Irony for Warning Fans, with an addendum on nuance. Here's short but sweet. What a pretentious douchebag. No Brummie would say douchebag. Blah, blah, blah. All your facts are stupid. Wrong. Blah, blah, blah. Why bother? 36 minutes to spit all kind of nonsense because it's what I think, not what is real. Effing got tired listening to your crap since you first make fun of a video game, in capital letters. Like, if you need to be 100% accurate with an effing video game, and then you get all your facts wrong about them and spit all kind of crap. He said this twice, he's repeating himself because he's so angry. This is what happens when you get angry. Now I can say anything about you and it will be okay because I can. Not because it's right or wrong. Oh, well, go on then. He doesn't know. He set it up. He could have said anything about me. Andy, you've got 4 eyes. Your mom smells. You're nasty to the traditional wildlife of Great Britain. You'd stamp on a squirrel if you got the chance, you would. It doesn't matter if it's not true.
Because you said things that weren't facts. You did. You said that they weren't proficient musicians when they were. And you said that the Metallica shared their video when they didn't. It was just Kirk Hammett making a comment on it. You said those wrong facts about them. And that makes you wrong, which means I can say what I want about you now. I can say whatever I want, but I'm not going to because I'm not as low as you. You big douchebag.
Here's this one. And it got a quote from me.
I mean, what do they listen to in Mexico?
Obviously Mexican music. That was what I said, but I'm doing it in their voice. And then the person's put,
what a racist, obnoxious wanker.
Oh, I love it. I mean, what do they listen in Mexico? What sort of music do they've got to listen to Mexico. I didn't say they exclusively listen to Mexican music. I'm not saying every Mexican in the world listens to Mexican music. I didn't say that all the Mexicans love Mexican music and not anything else. What I said was, and this makes me a racist, is I said, what do they listen to in Mexico? Obviously Mexican music. That is racist in the modern world. When somebody feels that someone has slighted something that they are like, they are quite happy to twist your words to not make you act like you don't know what you're talking about or your opinion's not valid, but to say that you're a racist. Oh, God. How can I be a racist? I've got a mate who's Mexican. And I only said that to get on their nerves. They hate when you say that. This one's really good.
Let me be clear. I've told you to go shove a rusty tailpipe up your arse about a good half dozen times.
He has. This is what I live with. I didn't like what you said in that video. Get a rusty tailpipe. What was it? Rusty tailpipe. Is that an exhaust, as we call them in the UK? I've got one. I've got an exhaust, but it's brand new. Is that any good?
No. I don't want a new one. It's got to be rusty. It's got to be rough and rusty. I want to see a considerable amount of iron oxide up your anal passage or I won't be happy. I'm hoping that you'll get tetanus up there. Tetanus is the bloody bum. That's what you deserve, tetanus in the bum, for not liking the warning.
So I'm racist and I deserve tetanus of the bum.
I've got no intention to listen to your pathetic drivel with regards to the warning. It's clear you are a tapeworm and will give them your usual bowel movement.
This bloke's got some sort of Freudian thing going on in his with bottoms, hasn't he? And then he goes, go Andy, go, pissant. It's clear you are a tapeworm and will give them your usual bowel movement treatment. I'm not even quite sure where he's come. I'm the tapeworm. If I'm the tapeworm, has the tapeworm got a rusty exhaust up its bum? Because a tapeworm couldn't take a rusty exhaust. I'm not saying that I could, but I've got more chance of being able to take such a thing, haven't I?
You're an idiot. You're just an insufferable asshole, Andy.
Bloody hell, there's a lot of bottom talking in here, isn't it?
This guy's a moron. Obviously a hater. Now, why does he even have a channel?
I've got a channel because I put the videos on there and then I put them out one by one forever, about 3 years solid, and I put one out every, now 7 times a week without fail. And I've grown a small but dedicated audience for my sort of irreverent and yet highly knowledgeable discussion of mod music and culture. That's what I've done. And I'm afraid my Sauron-like gaze has alighted itself upon the warning. They should offer a bloody warning, shouldn't they? This is someone else that they didn't like when I said this. But I said, apparently, but guys my age, guys, like these girls, sisters, but I'm a man and British. Everyone else must be wrong. What a sad, envious... I can't do that high-up voice anymore. What a sad, envious, misogynist, bigot loser. I don't even understand what he's saying there. Somebody needs to tell this retard that turning on a camera and just saying any stupid thing that crosses his mind isn't his cup of tea. Holy hell. I mean, when that started off, that sounded like sound advice to me. I was thinking, he's probably got a point. But he's called me a retard. Can you call people retards nowadays? I mean, how do the retards feel about it? Actual retards to have that sort of language being used towards me? Surely they don't like it. But retards seem to not mind anything, really. They seem to be the most laid back and happy people there is. Now, I'm not a laid back and happy person, but if he's calling me a laid back, happy person that sees positivity in everything, then I'm a retard. And my retard following out there, you know, I offer my hand out, I give you a big kiss because you lot are all right. You don't go off bloody sowing all this nastiness, do you? You know, how dare he have a go at the retards in the world? But then he says, just saying any stupid thing that crosses his mind isn't his cup of tea. It is my cup of tea. My cup of tea is coming on here and spouting any old nonsense into the phone camera. Long time ago, I did proper research. I've given up on that. You know, since I've gone to 7 videos a week, I've given up on that. It's just whatever comes out of my mouth, and they don't understand the concept of the channel. We know your thing. Make a video every week about hating bands. Be self-deprecating and pretend you know a lot about music. But the thing is, you obviously don't. If a band of young girls who are great musicians and grew up listening to classic rock and want to rock out, let them rock out, you annoying effing blonde. I won't say all the things he said there. That's actually got a point. I said they're okay. And I will support them doing what they're doing. It's not them that I am addressing. It's this audience of people that are so protective of them. And I'm going to explain why. This one I liked. This is why I put it across, because it's actually quite eloquent. It's good. If all their insults were this eloquent and use quotes and references, I would be quite happy. A wise man once opined, better to be silent and thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubts. Congratulations. You have indeed removed all doubts. You are, sir, an idiot. He didn't put sir in, I just added that. If he'd have put the sir in, I would have been, I think he would have, that would have been, I don't mind that. I don't mind that. Every time I come on here and I open my mouth, I risk making myself an idiot. And you know how I deal with that? I don't mind you thinking I'm an idiot. I really do not mind. Some people will think I'm an idiot. Some people won't. Some people will think I've got knowledge. Some people won't. It is for you to decide whether I have or not. It's totally up to you. I just come out here and spout my nonsense. Right? That's all I do. And the only thing that keeps me going is people keep watching and more people keep watching and they seem to like it. And I get messages of people and they say, when I go to bed at night and put your videos on, I don't really listen to them, but the way you just go on and in the background, I find quite comforting. If that is the summation of what I have contributed to YouTube here, I am a very happy person. The idea that someone is finding my chat comforting really makes me happy. And the fact that the Warning are out there playing proper rock music and rocking out and making a certain, section of society who are so hungry for some real musicians played by decent people, I commend that as well. And I do know that is great. And that is what makes the Warning great. And I have learned something from this in what is so great about the Warning. And I will say that at the end of the video. I have got a big load of... it just goes on and on. I mean, this is tip of the iceberg. You know, and I've got then my lot countering, which I haven't done, but I thank you all. Because I see one where one of somebody... what's this one? Old? He's but a toddler in the eyes of most Warning fans. That's me. But that has nothing to do with it anyway. He's just doing this video to upset people and get many views. He couldn't care less about what we think of him and his video. For him, it's just views and amount of comments for that matter. You can't hurt the feelings of someone like him. So I thought he was being on my side then. He's not, is he? Sure, he really failed in his background check. But after all, what it all comes down to is that these sisters love to perform live and their fans love to see them perform live as well. Not many like to watch their studio recordings, despite that they make them look perfectly great and sound perfect. People don't want that. Who wants to listen to a studio recording with Jimi Hendrix? It's not the same as seeing him live either, and I'm sure he preferred to perform live as well. They're comparing him to Jimi Hendrix now. I don't get any of this. And it's like, all that's true, right? All that's true, except I didn't do this to get the views, and I never do it to get the views. I do it to get a point across for people who are interested in music to actually listen, and maybe they'll go, I never thought about it like that. Right, so I think I'm at the point now at 30 minutes. I mean, there's so much here that I can do. But I've extracted enough humour and I've stirred the pot even more. They will be even more angry. And why are they so angry? Why are they so angry? Is it just the normal angriness of fans who really like a certain band? No. Is it like Rush fans that can't have someone say anything, get bad against their band because they think that Rush are the greatest band with the greatest musicians that ever lived? No, this is not what's going on here. I didn't clock what was going on. I walked into this not realising what I'd done. I didn't understand what's going on. And the reason why the next day I've come down here and sat down to do this video is because I learnt something reading all those comments. Right, so where do we start with this one? Are you ready for my appraisal of the comments that came in yesterday and what I think's going on culturally? I was half right. Rock fans, they grew up in this country, knew every British Heaven, they're Metallica, and you had all that hair metal thing as well, you know, Bon Jovi, and all those bands all the way through the 80s. Rock was a powerful form that could have hit records, sold millions. It was a really powerful thing. And you went, I'm a rocker. And the rockers weren't cool. I said all that in the video, right? So you've got all that. Then Nirvana comes out, and everybody likes Nirvana. And Nirvana's a different thing because they are actually cool. But doing what they do, and it's sort of rock then starts to stumble. You get Rage Against the Machine, Korn, you get Linkin Park, and it's all quite good. Pantera, amazing. But it starts to stumble around about 2000. It grinds to a halt, and it's almost like what's happened is, at that point, you've had two generations. You're going into another generation, and this generation don't embrace rock music. They embrace pop music. But what you have out there is a whole bunch of older people at this point. We're not talking about now, but we're talking about 15, 20 years ago, that are rock fans. And their kids, if they're nice, you know, middle class sort of families, or working class, but nice families, that's the most important. Sorry for saying that. I shouldn't have said that. But that was me thinking about a comment that came up over and over again about these girls. So that's why I said that. And it came out the wrong way. So, see, I've apologised for that. If I spot myself saying something I don't agree with. So people who've come from nice, well-brought-up families, and their kids would be interested in the parents. They would go, well, what bands do you like? This is what my kids are like. My kids are like this. I can remember my daughter, when she was about 6 or 7, she went on a school trip. And she was coming home, and on the bus they were allowed to play what music they like, and everyone was, you know, saying, can you play Justin Bieber? And they were playing Justin Bieber. And then when it came to my daughter, said, what track do you want to play? And she said a Soundgarden track. And they played a Soundgarden track, and what happens? The kids are going, what's this? Oh, it sounds horrible like this. And the teachers are going, oh, good. Well done, well done. And that is the thing where we start, is these parents who have brought their kids up liking rock music, and the kids like it. And their parents go, you know, do you want to play guitar? Because they had to come up through the 90s. They had to get jobs. And now they've done quite well this is the thing that I have to say it. They've done quite well for themselves, and they can look after their kids. And they say, why don't you play in a band? I'll get you a drum kit. We've got a spare room on the side of the house, you know, in the wing of the house. You know, in that wing where we haven't got anything. You know, where I just keep all my money. We can clear out all the money, and I'll make you a little recording studio, like a rehearsal studio. What do you need? Well, I'd really like this top-of-the-end kit. We'll need a PA, and we'll need some sort of mixing studio. Well, there's a mixing desk here for 10 grand. Yes, that would do, Daddy. Can you get me one of those? And what bass do you want, young lady? And that's I have taught these people for the last 20, 30 years, right? I've just done a video at the same time on Mary Spender. You know, the great YouTuber. And these videos are related. They're both set in this dark setting that I've got here. I might keep this, actually. It looks cool, doesn't it? Right, so, and they're all dealing with this, right? This is what I'm thinking about today. So, I can remember such parents that I have just mentioned I was working in a studio. Those people knew that I was a music lecturer. They knew that I'd develop artists. They knew that I'd help artists get record deals. I'd had a reasonable amount of success with a number of young musicians in helping them and supporting them, and that I had interesting ideas that usually help people get where they wanted to go. And so these parents came down and they sat down. They said, our daughter's got this band and they're doing all these, it was all cover versions. They're doing all these cover versions and we've been really supporting them. And they'd literally gone down to London and got some producer to do one song for 2,000 quid, right? They'd gone and hired the Cavern in Liverpool to put these gigs on. And they started to tell me about this singer, and they were saying how, amazing. And I said, well, and I started to go up through what I thought needed to be happening. And they were pushing back, and I'm starting to think, well, if you're not interested in what I'm saying, then, fair enough. And at some point I said, look, you've got to understand, because I was trying to persuade them to stop doing cover versions. If they are going to do cover versions, not do like Mustang Sally or these obvious things which you think will go down well, but is actually portraying this person as really being in not something signable. The same as a rock band getting up and doing Enter Sandman. It's the same thing. It's like when kids form rock bands, I can tell you the songs they're going to play in that first rehearsal when they first start. It'll be Enter Sandman, Smells Like Teen Spirit, and it will be sometimes Creep by Radiohead. There's a whole list of those songs. And when I was teaching and we did do cover versions, I banned those songs, right? Anyway, so I said, stop doing the cover versions. And I said, in the end, we need to create a story, because all this person is a good singer. That's all they are at the moment. And they are a great singer. And they said, yeah, but they are really good singers. I mean, you see these people in the charts, so they're not as talented as my child. And I said, look, the world's just full of incredible singers. I've got a phone book full of incredible singers. And these singers are way better than your child. They've got 5-octave range. They can sight sing. They've done session work. I said, I've got a whole ton of them and they haven't got record deals. Why do you think that? And they went, I suppose so, like this. Now, they then walked off, and there was they worked in the rehearsal room in this complex I was in, and in there was a band rehearsing, and one of the guys was one of my students, they didn't know. And they walked in, and they went, I hate that Andy Edwards. He's a complete twat. Now, why was that? And the reason is not that I'd criticised their child. What I'd done is I'd pushed back, and I hadn't turned around and gone, your child is the greatest thing since sliced bread. They're wonderful. All that we need to do is put them in front of the right people, and when the right people will see it, their jaws will drop to the floor, and everyone will go, oh my God, this is the greatest thing since Jesus Christ. Right? Now, what happened with this phenomenon I've seen all my life. And when I was working with young bands, I used to sit there, we used to put these gigs on, and I used to think, this is weird. Because when I was a kid, you yourself would go down to some dodgy venue, you would get in there underage, can we have a gig please? Right, you would go down there, you would take your own gear in, you would play to a bunch of people that were off their face on drugs, right, and you would play and play, you would get spat at, you would get your gear stolen, and then maybe, and it happened once at one gig I was in, someone would get beaten up or stabbed, and then the gig would get stopped, or someone would OD. That was what it was like. And you didn't tell your parents what these venues are like. Well, I've just been out with my band playing. That is what it was like in the 1980s. All the bands were aggressive. All the bands just wanted to jump up and down, spit at each other and beat people up. And it was just, that's what it was, right? Now, I have spent the last 20 years, probably maybe even longer, sat in venues with a gig that us grown-ups have put on for the kids to have a nice time. And we've provided proper instruments for them, proper backline, and then, 5 bands have come down to this venue, right? And they're all underage, but they're allowed in because they're with their parents, and their parents have gone to the bar and made profit for the venue, and then sat there proudly as their offspring got up and sawed their way through Enter Sandman. And then everybody was so enamored by the fact that their kids were on a proper stage with the lights, and they will go, oh my God, they're amazing, they're amazing. Oh my God, almost sound like the record, didn't it? Yeah, it did, didn't it? They're like almost like a proper band. Yes, they are like a proper band. They're so much like a proper band. I think they should be massively famous, don't you? I do as too. I think if the world was to see them and we were to spend our vast amounts of wealth on promoting them to the right people, then they would probably be seen. And what we can see and the talent that we can see, they would see as well, wouldn't they? Yes, because these people who work in record companies and these people who run the music, they've never really seen talent, have they? They don't know what it is. You can tell that by other stuff they stick in the charts. Yeah, if they saw actual talent, they'd be like, oh my God, that's amazing. We need to do that. Yeah, I think we should do that. Yeah, I am going to convert that room when I get my money, when I keep my money in and all that stuff in there. You know, I'm clearing that out. Whatever they want, we'll do it. Sort it out and push, you know. And then there's a bloke called Andy Edwards who lives locally. Once we've got all that set up, get him down and he will tell us what to do because he's really good at that. But if he says anything I don't agree with about my child, I will get very angry, right? So I have seen this, they've all sat there like that watching this. I have seen it over and over. Now, what's interesting with the warning is there's a unique phenomenon. These girls started when they were children, right? They got up and played Enter Sandman. And when I watched the video of the children, because I made a mistake and I thought the video was the one when they were older. I do feel bad about that, as you could probably tell. But when you watch the video of the children playing, it's wonderful. And the reason it's wonderful is because they do it really well. It's really well shot. You could see all the kids doing their thing, and some of them look so tiny, but they are playing with such conviction, and they're serious. It's not a joke. They mean it. And that's a wonderful thing. And anybody who sees that video, especially someone who's older, will look and go, God, the youth's incredible, isn't it? Look at that. Because youth want the world, don't they? And the thing is that youth can be destructive, or if they are conscientious and apply themselves well, they could do anything they want to do. And that's what we see with these girls. And these girls that goes out and they set up, and because there's something behind them, right? Basically, and I don't know what it is, they have been able to market this, set their Patreon up, put the videos out, and they have talked to these people. And what happens with the warning, it's not one set of wealthy parents that loves the warning. It's a whole army of proud parents that have watched these girls grown up and have nothing but goodwill for them. And anybody like me that comes along and stands in their way, anybody that comes out saying, you know, well, I'm not too sure. And you know what they really don't like? It's the same thing that got that mother so annoyed, right? It's the same thing. Yeah, they're okay, yeah. But what do you think? Are they as good as the Beatles? No. Are they really good musicians? No. They're good singers though, aren't they? They're all right. They're really good songwriters, aren't they? I don't think they're as good as Joni Mitchell, no. I don't think they're as good as David Bowie, no. I don't think they're as good as ELO. I don't think they're good as Sting or Peter Gabriel. No, they're not. Because they're kids. They might be one day, I think. But the trouble is, to be a good songwriter, you have to have some sort of mental illness. You have to have some sort of different view of the world. And just championing rock cliches is not going to cut it. Now, there's another thing in all this, but that's my message of this video, is that I think that's what's going on, is that they have watched these girls, and these girls, they've said it over and over again. This is what made me realise that they're really being well brought up. They're lovely girls, and I'm sure they are. And they're conscientious, and they're polite. And what this is the antithesis of what rock was when you lot actually started listening to it. Can you not see this? Yes, they play their instruments. Yes, they rock. Yes, it's not autotune crap if you don't like autotune crap. Yes, blah, blah, blah. All that is the case. But there is culturally something really different. This is the band of the age more than any other band. They are so important right now because they conform to the generation above's idea of what great is. And in that, they are the antithesis of what rock originally was. And that is always the natural arc of any cultural movement, as it moves from the revolutionary, world-changing point right up to the establishment view. And the establishment view is always the generation that went before. Now, another interesting thing I want to add into this that I didn't realise when I did the first video is I felt that the fact that they played computer games at the start was really interesting because it didn't happen to me, it didn't happen to most people. Most people didn't come to rock music through a computer game, right? This wasn't actually a criticism, it was just an observation that I thought was interesting. It's interesting that's how they came to it. They were having piano lessons. They're obviously wealthy family, they're obviously middle class. They are, aren't they? Right? And they've obviously been supported and looked after, and it's like they had their piano lessons. I've bet a million parents know. Some kid sawed away on the violin, you know. And so they'd had that, but then when they showed an interest in Rock Band, that was how they came to rock music. Now, when you play Rock Band or Guitar Hero, there is a certain aesthetic that goes on with the characters that you are. You pick a character, and the female characters are completely unrealistic. You think, well, what band looks like this? I can remember Girls' School, but Girls' School just wore exactly what blokes who were rockers wore. Then you had the Runaways, but they were sort of post-punky. I suppose you had Lita Ford. Maybe it's a bit of a Lita Ford aesthetic that's been updated, but there's a little bit of a cyberpunkier, dystopian thing going on, you know, and there's all that little bit going on with this. And you know, it's like Evanescence, isn't it? It's like that band. Bloody hell, I can't stand Evanescence. But there's a certain aesthetic there, emo, goth, dystopian, steampunk thing going on. And these girls have started off from nice kids and they have slowly morphed into this look. Now, I'm going to end the video again now. I've got to the end of the video. Last night, I again put on the Pepsi gig and watched it. And I sat there and once I've whipped the Hornets nest up, my natural contrarian thing is to step back and think, well, watch it with eyes, you know, really try and see what people like about it. And I did, and I watched it. And what impressed me, watching it again, wanting to see why everyone loves it, and I will give them this, they perform so well, and because they're sisters, there's a homogeneity in the band. And the fact that you've got someone up front singing vocals, and then the fact that the drummer sings vocals as well. And when she performs on the drums, she has actually developed an aesthetic as a singing drummer, which people like Phil Collins and Levon Helm were never able to do. She's able to project from the back, and that is a really interesting thing. Are we going to see more and more drummer-led bands? Because she's shown the way there. So I want to give her the props for that. And she really does it really well. And I wonder if it's actually because being a female and being quite smaller, it's able to sit behind the kit and within that perform and move around. And actually, it's a different aesthetic to some great big hulking guy now jumping around and putting his arms up. Because I often feel that when you do that behind a drum kit, suddenly the drum kit, it doesn't matter how big the drum kit is, suddenly dwarfs. And so it's really hard for a drummer to project out. She's got her drums low, the cymbals are quite low, and she has this window that she projects out of, and she's brilliant at it, really brilliant, as they all are. Their performances are wonderful, and they're homogenous, and they perform out to the audience. Do I think the songwriting's particularly good? It's okay, it's competent, it's good enough to do the job of what they're trying to do. They've become reasonable players. Somebody was going on last night saying you can't drum like the girl drummer. And I just thought, I don't even want to get into explaining the sort of technique and chops that I have as a drummer, that every professional drummer must have, that are not apparent in her playing, right? But there's no point, because that's not what she's about. She's about being a cool female. She's the key to the band. It's the pow, isn't it? She's the key to this band. And there's something going on there, and I admit it. Not my cup of tea, though. So I hope I've appeased, you know, I hope I've appeased, I don't want to have enemies here. Those who are so angry that they now hate my guts and they've got no room to budge on it, well, you know, sling your hook. I don't care. The views have been great. My subscribers have gone up. I knew people were unsubscribing, but more people were subscribing. I think normal, sensible people were sat there watching it and being entertained by it. I hope you have been entertained by it. And I hope what I've said today has explained the phenomenon of this band, because this is what's interesting. I don't particularly like this band. I don't hate them. Come my way. You've asked me to listen to them. I've done my thing that I do on this channel, and I hope after 2 videos we've arrived at the fact that you lot love this band. There's nothing wrong with it, but you love it because you see them
as your children and you're proud of them. That is what they represent. They represent the pride in handing down the gauntlet of rock from one generation to another, and the pride in seeing them taking that goblet of rock. Was it a goblet? And proffering it back to the generation that went before with respect and decency and skill, and honouring this thing of real music made by real musicians and played to an audience who appreciate rocking at its finest. Oh, they haven't got that. They've got their riffs are rubbish. God, come on. Their riffs are bloody rubbish. Things like, you know. It's all that type of stuff. That's not a riff. Give up, Andy. Don't try. Don't try. You've shown yourself up right at the end. If you like this video, stick a like on it. If you didn't like it, stick a not like on it, like you did before. My videos are always like, look at the likes, 99%. 99% of people like this video. Who said they didn't like it? This one's languishing around about 70%. 70%. And the thing was, because people didn't like it, they weren't liking it. It went like this, the views are like this, and then they stopped liking it, and it went whoa, like this. You managed to curb it. We stopped him. The warning army stopped that man. Did you see us? We just keep punching. Everybody gather round. If you keep pushing the dislike button, it might affect the algorithm. Go on, do it. I don't care. I actually don't care. Do it. I don't care. Whatever happens, happens. But please, if you did like it, remember Andy's army. They have called themselves this. Andy's army was. I could see them going, oh my God, they've said some really nasty stuff about him. He doesn't deserve that. We know he's a bit of a knobhead, but he doesn't deserve that. Bloody rusty pipe up his arse. Let's capture that. Let's capture that. We'll capture him. We'll take him back to our warding castle, right? And then we can present him to the girls in change. We've got him. What should we do with him, ladies? Do you have the rusty tailpipe? We do your ladyships. We do, yes. Well, you know what to do. Would you like to watch? No, we don't want to watch. Can we watch? Of course you can. Can I have the pipe afterwards? Right, so, if you want to subscribe to get my unique brand of music commentary, come on, Rick Beata, there's nothing goes up anybody's bottom on his channel, does it? I've got it happening left, right and centre on mine. Come on, you know where the worth is. So press subscribe, get over to Patreon, become a free member, then pay me some money so I can buy some food and counteract the fact that my channel will now die because the warning army are pressing, I'm going on every single video and pressing dislike. Do it to all of them. I don't even watch that. Doesn't matter. All that matters is we protect our ladyships. You know, and if you want to support me, you know, because it is coming up to Christmas, I could be ruined with this. If you play with fire on YouTube the whole time, no such thing as free speech. No such thing as having an opinion and respecting other people. It doesn't matter. It's just tribal. It's one tribe against the others, and anything that will get your opinion that's justified in this modern world. Of course, that will take us to hell, won't it? God, that was serious, but it will. It will. Thank you. See you on the next video.